One of the questions that students always ask me whenever we are having a shirt making training is that how will they get a shirt with quality fabric, or how can they recognize quality fabric in the market if they want to sew a shirt? In this video, I will be giving you 5 quality checks that you will need to observe whenever you are buying a shirt that you want to wear, or you want to buy a fabric that you want to use to sew a shirt. Number one on my list is that you must buy a fabric that can sew well under the machine. It is not all fabrics that can sew very well under a machine. There are some fabrics that are used to pull, there are some that are used to squeeze, and you don't want your shirt to have that kind of nonsense on it. Are you getting me? So either you want to buy a shirt, you must make sure that you buy the one that the sewing is neat. If it is fabric that you want to buy, you must make sure that it is a fabric that can sew well under the machine. Somebody might want to, how will I know? You will know because there are some fabrics, the moment a fabric is more like a nylon or it stretches, there is a tendency that it may not sew well. I usually make a lot of corporate shirts, so I deal a lot with cotton fabrics. So you really need to pay a lot of attention to ensure that the fabric, look at the way the threads are woven. Are you getting me? If it is bulky, there's a likelihood that it's going to sew. I'm not saying that it should be too thick. It shouldn't be too thick. In fact, you should run away from any fabric that is also too thick. It should not be too light and it should not be too thick. Make sure that it can sew very well. I also tell my students though that it doesn't mean that you have to use only cotton fabrics to sew your shirt. There are some other lighter fabrics that are not even cotton, that are not mainly cotton, that will also sew very well. At times what I do is that if I see a fabric, especially if it is for sale, if I see a fabric that I like and I feel that, oh, it should sew well, sometimes instead of buying too much um quantity to produce maybe more than one shirt, I'll just rather buy one shirt at first to test it when I get to the workshop to see how it will do before I now go back to buy more. I do that a lot. So if I see that the fabric sews well, then I can actually go back and buy as much as I want. Another thing that you also need to consider, either you want to buy a shirt or you want to buy a fabric that you want to use to sew a shirt, is whether it can be ironed. The iron ability of the shirt is very, very important. If you are not doing cotton shirt, if you want to do probably like a silk shirt or a chiffon shirt or a rayon shirt, because there are actually some other fabrics that we use to produce shirts too. Those ones you don't even need to iron them. You see some of these top designers, they have in their boutiques, you will have some even non-iron shirts. You will see them there, which means that you only need to wash and dry. Are you getting me? And then you are good to go. There are some non-iron fabrics like that that can produce shirt too. Those ones are just easy to wear. Are you getting me? So you must know the kind of fabric that you are looking for. If it is that you want to make corporate shirt, I'm going to emphasize more on that because I do a lot of corporate shirt. I wear shirt that people, most especially men, they wear to offices and they cannot tie on. You understand? I'm still going to get to some of those details too. So I do a lot of that. So when I'm looking for fabric that I want to buy, it must be ironable. And one of the reasons why I consider that is because the stains that we use for shirt, either for the cuffs or the collars or even for the button stand, they are cloth stains. They are not like paper stains or gun stains that we use for maybe our African wears. Are you getting me? They are cloth stains, and those cloth stains, you really need to, your iron need to be hot. Are you getting me? To be able to fasten them very well on the fabric. If you are not going for a corporate shirt, maybe it's just a casual way, yes, you can just do any other fabric that you don't really even need too much ironing on. Are you getting me? You just need the light stain that you will use on it. In fact, there are some, even if it's just color, maybe it is a shirt that does not have a cuff, it is maybe short sleeve and it doesn't have a cuff, maybe just color alone. There are some shirt that you only need to just cut the pattern and then you just technically sew it. Those are very, very light fabrics, you understand. So if that is what you are going for, if you know how to sew your shirt very well, you may not even need to iron it. So Just know what you are going for before you know what suit or what you'll be looking out for. The third thing I'm going to talk about is color. Another quality check that you must check is the color of the fabric. Check very well. Assuming the fabric has maybe like white background and it has some maybe like uh, red lines or blue lines or black lines on it, you must confirm if those colors will not wash on the white background. This is very, very important, especially if you are dealing with cotton fabrics. Are you getting me? If it were to be maybe something like satin, those ones they don't usually wash, or maybe rayon, those ones they don't usually wash. You understand? Or maybe chiffon, those ones they don't usually wash. But if you are dealing with cotton fabrics. Probably you want to do a shirt that can be worn to an office and you are dealing with cotton fabrics. You need to be very this is where you really need to be very, very careful. You must ensure that those colors they are the type that will not wash. There are so many fabrics in the market at the moment they wash it, put it into water once, the color will just fasten on one another. And you don't want that to spoil your business. Even if it's that you are wearing it for yourself, you don't want to wear a shirt once and then you can't wear it again. So you need to look out for that. Somebody is wondering, okay, how do I look out for that? I have a technique that I use and I've used it over time. Whenever I'm going to buy fabrics in the market, I usually go with my white handkerchief and I probably go with maybe a bottle of water. Maybe if I buy water to drink, so I take it along with the shops. I would have wet my white handkerchief with a bit of water. So while I'm checking the fabrics, I'll just try to rub my white handkerchief on some of the deep colored fabrics. If nothing washes on my white handkerchief, then I will know that, oh, this fabric is likely going to be a good one. That means it's a quality fabric and that those colors are not going to wash. It's just a technique. In fact, the person selling the fabric may not even observe anything because I will do it stylishly. It's not before you that I will start rubbing it. I won't rub it at your front. You will think I'm just checking the fabric while I had already held a part of the fabric and I've already rubbed my wet white handkerchief on it. Are you getting me? So these are some of the things that you can watch out for. However, if it is that you want to do a lot of order, maybe for companies, and they ask you to go and do maybe deep colors, maybe navy blue or black or turquoise, you understand? Some of those fuchsia pink, some of those deep colors, you may need to buy, even if it is just half yard or maybe 1 yard of that fabric that you feel that it is good. But just to double sure, you might just buy 1 yard and then when you get to your house, then you can wash the fabric to check whether the color will wash or not. If it is a shirt that you want to buy, I would advise that try to stay away from very deep colors. Yes, very deep colors. Black. Stay away from deep blue. Stay away from colors like fuchsia pink, red. And you get as much as you can. Try to stay away from them because most of those fabrics, their colors used to wash over time. I do a lot of checkers. Yes, in fact, if I show you some of my shirts, I do a lot of checkers because checkers usually have white background and then most of the time they do not wash. If you get a quality one, they don't wash. Then the fourth thing that you need to also look out for that you are buying a shirt or you are buying fabric that you want to use for your shirt is durability. Durability. Is this fabric going to last? Or is it just be something that after wearing it for like 1 month, it will pack up, it will look so faded, the quality would have dropped, you understand? So one of the things I said, one of the ways to look for durability is to check the stuff in your hand. Just check it, the stuff in your hand. And you actually need this, especially if you are working with cotton fabrics. Are you getting me? Check the stuff in your hand. Hold it in your hand. I normally grab fabrics in my hand. I grab it and I squeeze it. Are you getting? It's one of the way I know whether the fabric has a higher quality of cotton. I grab it and I squeeze it in my hand. I usually do it. And when I do that, then I'll be able to know, oh, if it's easily released, I'll know that it has a lot of polyester. But if I grab it and I squeeze it, and then I see that when I release it, it's very rumpled, then I know that, this fabric is likely going to be quality. It has a higher percentage of cotton in it. So you must watch. Don't buy fabric that is too light or does not even look solid. Are you get what I'm trying to say? You must be very, very smart. Then the last thing I'm looking to talk about that equality you must check is the yardage. You know, you may not need yardage when you are checking if it is a shirt you want to buy, although you need to know your size. I'm going to talk about sizes in a different video. So yardage may not really apply to you in this video if you are buying a shirt. Just know your size so you can just buy your exact size. But if you want to buy a fabric, you must know. Like now, shirt fabrics usually come in by 60. The length is usually by 60. If they don't sell it by 60 for you and you want to sew a shirt, that fabric may not be enough. Sometimes it comes in by 45. Really, the person that is selling is supposed to tell you that, madam, this fabric, it is not by 60 because regularly it is supposed to be by 60. And being by 60 helps it to be complete whenever you are cutting. Are you getting me? Although some traders will not tell you. Someone like me now, if I see you measuring a fabric, I already know what by 60 length where it get to. So if I say by 45, I see that short length, I will, I'll be curious and I will ask you, can you measure the length? You understand? But for some of us that maybe you are just starting, you may not know whether it is by 45 or by 60. Please ask the person that is selling, is this fabric by 60 inches? If he's trying to, if you are not too sure, tell him, please, can you measure it in my site now? Let them measure the length. If it is not up to 60, please drop it because it might not be enough. For female shirts now, for adult female shirt, from like maybe size 8 to size 14, and I'm talking about when either the bust or the hip is not more than 44 inches. Are you getting? If it is not more than 44 inches, you can still use 1.5 yards. You can still use 1.5 yards for your short sleeve. Are you getting me? You can also even still use it for your long sleeve. For men, adult men, it is 2 yards. Are you getting? Except for those that are very big, you may need to buy more. Are you getting me? So you need to know, and if you are supposed to buy 1.5 yards ordinarily, that is by 60 inches. If they sell 1.5 yards, which is that is by 45 for you, you can see that it will not be enough. So these are some of the things that you need, quality checks that you need to do before you buy that fabric that you want to use to sew your shirt. So I'm going to round up here, and I also tell you that if you want to learn how to sew a shirt professionally from beginning to the end, from sourcing for fabrics, sizes, international standard to cutting and sewing and everything, you might need to send me a comment so I can be able to, if you want me to train you. It doesn't really cost much, but you may need to chat me first so you can know what it takes. I schedule my trainings monthly, so you may want to book a slot. Let me know when you'll be available and when you want me to schedule your training for you. So I'll be seeing you in the next video. Probably I'll be doing the next video, the international sizes. Some people don't know the size of their shirts. Are you getting me? That will be difficult if you want to go into the business. Even if you want to buy a shirt for yourself, it might be difficult for you to get the size that fits you. So it won't be that by the time you get to the house, you realize that the shirt you bought is not your size. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.